This is a daily recap for the ES Runner and Euro Runner trading systems for August the 9th, 2012. Given that it is summertime, we are still seeing mostly choppy days, but there are some profits here and there to be made. Let's go through first of all the ES, going back to the pre-market session. Pre-market this morning was actually very good for the ES. I have decided to not open the room up until 7:45 in the morning because right now I have so many traders who are simply on vacation. There's not much of a demand to trade the European pre-market, but I still want to keep track of the system's performance so that when things pick back up in September, everyone knows how it did in August. So going back to this morning, taking trades from 3 o'clock in the morning, looking for the first 15 minutes with the markets pre-market open there between 3 and 3:15 to be more cautious. No trades took place between 3 and 3:15. The first sprint came in here at 3:45. The profit target for the sprints pre-market is 8 ticks. It made its 8 ticks here. Next, if traders had made their 8 ticks here, they could have taken the scalp, which is called an inter-series scalp. It's a second scalp number, or it's not the first scalp number. It's the second, third, or fourth, or fifth scalp number along the white line. As long as it meets a rule, one of the two rules is at least 3 dots prior to it. In this case, it has 4 dots. There's only 2 rules, and you have to meet one of the 2 rules, and this is the easiest rule, which is the previous dots being at least 3 dots. If a trader made his 8 ticks here as a rookie trader, he could have taken another scalp right here and made another 6 ticks from here to there. But I'm not going to count that scalp because there's not necessarily, who's to say when the person made that trade. It could have likely been a trade because likely they would have made their 8 ticks here and the market came up a little bit and they still could have got a good entry price on that scalp while banking profit on the first sprint. So it likely was 8 more ticks for those who would have traded it, but I'm sorry, 6 more ticks, but I'm not going to count that. Going forward here, we got another sprint at 6:35 in the morning. Entry here, exit at the aqua triangle if you have an upward arrow on the SSI. If you have no up arrows, that is arrows against your direction on the SSI, stay in the trade. In this case, an arrow did form beforehand, so based on the rules, that was an exit. Next, we have a scalp here, first in a series, called a primary scalp. That's why it's in a blue. It's the first number along the white line. That scalp would have been taken here, and it made it 6 ticks of profit down to right here. So the pre-market was good. 17 ticks of profit, 4.25 points. And there's also, again, this trade here was a very valid trade to take, and most could have gotten it if they had banked the profit. It could have been another 6 ticks. So pre-market was a nice pre-market for the middle of August. Because so far pre-market in August has been 6 ticks of profit, 8 ticks of profit, 12 ticks maybe, 2 ticks, maybe a couple ticks lost. So 17 ticks today was a good pre-market. But nevertheless, a pre-market still averages, outside of August, probably averages about 3 to 4 points a morning. And since July and August, with things slowing down, it's been averaging about 1.5 to 2 points a morning. So still for 5 hours worth of trading to make 2 points on average is pretty good. And today, again, 4.25. Now we'll go to the 2-minute for the 9:30 market open. This was actually less profitable than it was for the pre-market. Let's go back to 9:30 here. 9:42, a sprint came in here. I don't think anybody in the room would have taken this trade. I hope they didn't because the SSI values were at the extreme oversold, overbought that is. Now technically speaking, when the scalp came in, the SSI value beforehand was about 86. We want to stay away from 88 or above, okay? Above 88. So this was on the margin of somebody taking this trade, but the more important thing was just the huge movement in price going up. I would hope no trader took this trade, being at the top of a huge candle. It's only going to fall somewhat before it goes up anymore. It's not going to keep going up here. So with that, and with the SSI being just about extremely overbought, and the huge move in price in the first 12 minutes of the market's open, and it being the first 15 minutes of the market open, I think most traders passed on this trade. But if they didn't, it'd be an 8-tick loss. So we'll go forward and look at the other trades. Here we had a valid first scalp in a series, primary scalp. Entry here to exit there. Now the aqua triangle came in here, but remember again, you look at the SSI. When the aqua triangle comes in, if you have a down arrow in the SSI, leave the trade. If you don't have a down arrow in the SSI, stay in it. And by staying in this trade, It went up to here, by the way, which was 7 ticks, which was very close to 8 ticks of profit, which is our profit target for regular trading session on scalps. It went up 7, fell down to about 2 or 3, and then eventually made it up to 8. For those that would have got into this trade and made the 7 and decided to get out of the trade with the aqua triangle, not using the SSI to confirm whether it's necessary to leave the trade, then they would have lost about 1 or 2 ticks, but then there was a bounce trade right here which made back the 8 ticks. A bounce trade is a little bit more sophisticated type of a trade, but there was one right here, and it ended up making 8 ticks right about there. So either way, the rules state that you get out at an aqua triangle when the SSI has an arrow, at least one arrow facing against you. If there's not one arrow facing against you, stay in the trade, especially when you have the bounce trade set up here, which will support prices on the way up. That's 8 ticks of profit there. This sprint came in while you were still trying to make your profit of 8 ticks on the scalp here, so it wasn't to be a trade taken by traders, not when they have one already. I don't double count trades, or a lot of times second and third scalps come in while one's currently active, and those can make profits, a lot more profits most days. So when I don't count those, when they make profit, I won't count them here when they lose. This one, as you can see here, from an entry on the open, which was right here, the close would have been either the twin formation on the SSI or the aqua triangle, whichever comes first, and that would have made an exit right about there, so that sprint, if entered there, would have lost about 4 ticks. But again, because one was active, a scalp was active, you don't take another one until that one makes its profit. Moving forward here, this was a cautionary trade south. It was a very profitable trade very quickly, but the rules for cautionary trades state that if a chase price prints greater than 1 point in difference from the trigger, which this one was almost 2 points different, that you've got to look back at the highest price and see whether the move was 5 points or more. If there was a 5-point move from the highest swing price here to the current lowest swing price here, you've got to take a 2-point pullback from the lowest price. So therefore, this cautionary trade was not one to be taken by the rookies in the room. Profitable trade, but not one to be taken. Here we go into lunchtime. No trades taken during lunch, 12 to 1. This trade here happened at 12:50. As you can see, it ended up being a 2.5-point trade, making its 8 ticks of profit eventually down here and went up to 8 ticks. But because it happened before 1 o'clock, I'm not counting it as a successful trade. Just like I'm not counting this one because it didn't fit the rules for cautionary trade. Remember, we're using rookie trading rules, and those are specific about entry types. Otherwise, traders will use my system to take any entry they want based on these different entry signals, and they can manage their trades accordingly, however they want to manage it. This sprint here, entry here, exit at the aqua triangle, but when the aqua triangle prints, this arrow had not printed yet, but by the time the aqua triangle by the time this candle did close, the arrow had printed, so therefore that's an exit. As you can see, the sprint did eventually make 10 ticks had it been stayed into. This is one of those trades that's very marginal. When you're in a trade that goes 5 periods and it's a flat smart line, that's why the aqua triangle prints. If you don't have down arrows in the SSI, you stay in it. But had you stayed in it and then a down arrow printed, it's enough reason to leave the trade because things haven't worked out very well. Now, your opportunity to get back in the trade was off what's called a twin here. Twins are, in the case of a long, 2 dark green arrows, consecutive green arrows which form a twin, or 2 medium colored green arrows. It's called a strong twin and a medium twin. Strong twins and medium twins are totally allowed. Weak twins, which is the yellow color, are not on the short time frames. So a medium twin came in here. The open price in this candle was right here, and prices shot up and made 8 ticks. Now it touched there. It's not an absolute guaranteed fill, but I count the touch of a stop loss when it doesn't go through the price, so I do count the take profit because many traders do get filled up here when it touches that. So that's 8 ticks. So today, and then here at the end of the day, was at 3:52 in the day. We don't take trades after 3:45. So this trade wasn't to be taken with that 4 o'clock candle coming in. You don't want to take a short right here. Not with only 4 or 5 minutes, 6 minutes to go until that 4 o'clock candle comes in, which is the big volume candle. So anyway, we have a total of 14 ticks of profit in the pre-market, in the regular trading session. And if you go back to the scalp at markets open, and you count that trade against the overall daily profit, that 8 ticks from this here, then we would still be up 6. We'd be up 8. Well, we'd be up 6 ticks today. And a lot of traders took this cautionary trade, and that probably would have offset that first scalp. That first scalp, again, it was within the first 15 minutes of the market's open. Had an oversold, overbought within a couple points of SSI. And just for all the reasons I've listed, would not be a trade I hope anybody would take. If they did take it, again, they ended up losing with the Aqua here. They ended up losing actually about not even a full 8 ticks. They lost about 6 ticks. So today, though kind of rough in terms of choppy, today was a very choppy day. The market only moved 10 points total, and the entire Globex range was only 10 points. It's still anywhere from 8 ticks to 14 ticks made today. So regular trading session made 2 to 3.5 points, and pre-market made 4.25. Still not a bad day for the middle of August when everybody else out there, traders call me all the time, not making money. These systems still making small profits in the middle of August. Very impressive. So now let's go to the Euro. The Euro had a flat day. Started off here in the morning with a 25 tick loss on the first and second half of the positions. Unfortunately, the day started off bad. Then became a good trade. 20 pips were made here on entry. Had a runner go down here. We had a 4 a.m. medium impact news release, which just means that on medium impact, when you take the trade, move your stop off, move your position to break even. When the news comes out, break even was right here. Therefore, it never got hit. Got close though, but it didn't get hit. It was off by a couple, two or three pips. And on a large impact news release, a high impact news release, then you want to have at least 30 minutes of entry. On a medium impact, it's not the same. You take your entry and you move up your position to break even when you're in profit. If you're in loss by the time the news comes out at 4 o'clock, then you take the position off entirely. This morning at 4 o'clock was not a major impact. It was the ECB monthly bulletin. This is not one that really moves the market very much. That's why it's listed as a medium impact. And then we have a scalp trade right here. Came in, and then the exit on the formation of 2 twins, you exit. So that's a 7 pip trade right there. We have a scalp that came in here with an exit here at the Aqua Triangle. Aqua Triangle because remember then a sprint, 2 arrows form against you. And so you would have exited here for a break even. And then the runner's taken out here at 41 pips of profit. And we had an 8:30 news release, but by the time 8:30 news release came up, you were 60-some pips in profit on your runner. So the rule is if you're 50 pips or more, move up the position to a positive 20, have some profit on the trade. If you're 50 pips or more, you likely are never going to have the market go against you 50 pips on a news release unless it's something like non-farm payrolls or federal funds rate, but not the release we had this morning. So 41 pips were taken out here. Otherwise, if it was taken out before news, it was actually more profit than 41. At 8:25 in the morning, it was actually a total of about 60 pips in profit. About 59 pips in profit. So either way, it was a very profitable runner. And then there was a trade here, a cautionary trade. You take half the position size. Cautionary trades have a 20 pip stop loss versus 25 pips for the regular primary entry. So therefore, that is 20 pips loss in this trade. And then this trade was inside of the yellow, so therefore not a valid trade, even though, as you can see, it made its first 20 pips of profit. I will not count this because it's inside the yellow. So for the day, the euro ended up making, or losing actually, 2 pips. Now, if the trade was exited at news time, the euro actually made about 15 pips today, 18 pips or so. But sticking by the rules, it is a negative 2 pip day on the euro. Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you in the room. Please contact me if you have any questions at eric@advancedorderflowtrading.com. The website is currently under construction. Otherwise, you can reach me at the other email that I still do use, which is info@es-runner.com, and the website is www.es-runner.com. Again, new website under construction right now. Look forward to talking to you. Hope to see you in the room. September through December, guys, should be a fantastic time. If you're not a member yet, you should be a member. Lots of profit to make in the fall. A lot of profit was made in the spring and early summer. And even the past month and a half, we've still had profitable weeks. Thanks very much. Bye bye.